Hello, welcome to the Emberhart podcast. This is episode 5 of season 2. Today I will read out a pretty personal letter. Here we go. When truth slides away, the psychology behind the denial that followed. Dear Amelia Emberhart, I know this one dives into deep psychological stuff today. It can be a bit too difficult to fully grasp. However, I know you see things. You put dots together. You understand much more than we can imagine. So, let us have this conversation. I was attacked during a baseball game. That is not a word I use lightly, attacked. But the facts remain. A player came at me with an aggressive illegal slide that had nothing to do with gameplay. It was violent, against the rules and dangerous. My leg was visibly injured and players on both teams were stunned by what they witnessed. But here is what happened next. Nothing. The umpires chose not to make a call. My coach, despite seeing my injury, opted to defer the matter to a later committee review. That committee, along with representatives from the federation, later produced an official version of events. That nothing happened. That the umpires saw nothing. That it was either within bounds or too ambiguous to act upon. Yet, nearly every player who witnessed it strongly disagreed. And here we are now, caught in a web of silence where the most comfortable story has overtaken the truthful one. How does something so blatant get erased? How do decision makers settle into a fiction that serves everyone, except the one harmed? Here are four psychological and organizational phenomena that help explain this deeply frustrating and unfortunately common pattern. 1. Cognitive dissonance, when truth is too uncomfortable. Cognitive dissonance occurs when people experience mental discomfort because reality clashes with their beliefs or responsibilities. In this case, the umpires and coaching staff likely saw that something serious had happened, but acknowledging it would have meant accepting that they failed in their duty of oversight, a player could have been seriously injured on their watch, the game's integrity had been compromised. Rather than face these truths, they unconsciously resolved their discomfort by telling themselves a simpler, safer story. It did not look that bad. Or it was not intentional. Or even we did not see it clearly. In doing so, they preserved their self-image, but at my expense. 2. Plausible deniability. The art of not knowing. Plausible deniability is a strategy in which someone avoids responsibility by claiming not to know, not to see, or not to understand. It is not always malicious. It can even seem logical in the moment. The umpires claim they saw nothing. The coach delays dealing with the incident until the emotional heat has cooled. The committee echoes the umpire's version to avoid confrontation or complexity. Everyone walks away with their hands clean, protected by the ambiguity they created. But the truth, it gets erased. 3. Groupthink, when agreement is safer than honesty. Groupthink happens when a group values harmony and consensus more than truth or accountability. Instead of challenging this false narrative, individuals suppress their doubts for the sake of unity. Once the federation heard the umpire's account, it became the official truth. Dissenting voices, like those of the players, are treated as disruptive. Maintaining group unity, not justice, becomes the goal. This is how systems quietly betray individuals. The group protects itself even if it means abandoning someone who was harmed. 4. Social myth making. When fiction is easier than facts. Sometimes an event is simply too inconvenient to confront, too charged, too risky, too complex. So the group invents a version of events that could have happened, even though it did not. In this case, the myth became the slide was legal, the umpires did not see it, there is no basis for punishment. This version is not true, but it is easier. It protects reputations, avoids paperwork, and allows the league to function without disruption. It's a lie made of convenience. So, where does that leave me? Physically recovering, emotionally drained, and increasingly aware that truth alone is not always enough when systems are designed to prefer comfort over accountability. But writing this one is one small way of reclaiming reality, of refusing to let silence define what happened, of naming what so many of us witness, but are pressured to ignore. This is not just a story about baseball. It is a reflection of how institutions, whether sports, leagues, schools, or workplaces, can allow harm to go unacknowledged when the truth is inconvenient, and how individuals are often left carrying the weight of a denial that believes benefits everyone but them. If you have ever been in that place, I see you, and I hope that more of us begin to recognize these patterns, not only to protect ourselves, but to challenge the systems that make silence seem easier than justice. This is your moment. Take command and show us the path. And that's a wrap. Thanks so much for being with us today.